Number 10, Steph Curry.
So Steph Curry, 4-time first-team All-NBA, 3-time second-team All-NBA, 1-time third-team All-NBA. Got to be honest, before I looked it up, I would have thought he had more than 4 first-team All-NBAs. I'm a little surprised. 4 is great, but as far as other guys on this list, it's a little less than you would expect. What about his MVPs? We know it. He's a 2-time MVP, including the first ever unanimous MVP in 2016, even though LeBron should have been unanimous in 2013. He got 99 of the 100 votes. I'm not still bitter. He has 2 other MVP top 5s. He's a 2-time scoring champion. He's a 1-time steals champion. He was the best player on the greatest regular season team ever. He is a 50-40-90 guy and damn near a 50-40-90 career guy. 47, 43, 91 for his career. So then with Steph, the question is playoffs. And the answer is he has been really good in the playoffs. But as of now, he's a 6-time finalist. And as of recording, he's a 3-time champion. He was the best player on 4 finals teams. He was the best player on 4 finals teams. You could argue 3 finals teams. What are you going to do with 2019? Who's you going to say is the best player? Durant was probably the best player during the season, but then he got hurt in the playoffs. He was the best player on 1 champion and the second best player on 2 other champions. Now, you might say, hold on, Nick. You have Steph ranked ahead of Durant. How are you saying that Durant was the best player? Because when they played together in those finals, Durant was the best. However, Steph, his totality of his body of work means he has had the better career. Let's talk about Steph's playoff stuff because I think it's misrepresented on both sides. I think folks that act like Steph has not been great in the playoffs are lying, and folks that act like actually Steph's been better in the finals than in the regular season, that's obviously a lie. Okay, 2013, first playoff series ever. He has a 30-13, and he has a 44-11 in double overtime against the Spurs to start round 2. I believe that was his greatest playoff game. That's unfair. It wasn't his greatest playoff game ever, but that was the welcome to superstardom Steph Curry moment when everyone had to take notice. 2014, they lose in 7 against the Clippers in round 1. He averages 23-8 for the series, including a 33.5 rebound, 9 assists, 3 steal game in game 7. So that's a game 7 against Chris Paul, Steph's second year in the playoffs, and he has a 33-5, 9-3 in game 7. 2015, sweep of Anthony Davis in New Orleans, averages 34-5-7, and had his second career 40-point playoff game. In round 2, he has a 32-10 to close out Memphis. You remember that series? That series, Memphis was up 2-1. That was actually a little bit of, a tumult for the Warriors. They figured it out in games 4, 5, and 6. Steph closed them out with 32-10. In the conference finals against Houston, averages 31 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. And then in those finals, what everybody remembers is Delly giving him trouble, LeBron's masterpieces in games 1, 2, and 3. What should not be forgotten is this. Game 4 of those finals, I believe to be Steph Curry's finest playoff moment. He had game 5, pardon me, not game 4. He had 37, 7, and 4 in the key game. Game 5 of those finals to go up 3-2 on Cleveland. Delly had since been to the hospital getting IVs. He was so tired from running around chasing Steph. That was a great team, but because Klay doesn't dribble and Draymond was a better offensive player then than he is now, but everybody knew you had to stop Steph. He still dropped 37 to go up 3-2 on the Cavs in those finals. He did average in those finals 26 points per game. Now, I believe LeBron was MVP of those finals, but it is criminal that in the official NBA record books, Steph Curry got 0 finals MVP votes. It was 7 for Andre Iguodala, 4 for LeBron, 0 for Steph. If you weren't going to vote for LeBron, not voting for Steph there is crazy, especially how he finished it. Okay, so now they're the champions. Then in 2016, he is as good of a regular season as any player's ever had. His team wins 73 games. He wins the scoring title. He wins a unanimous MVP. He then gets hurt right before the playoffs, right at the beginning of the playoffs, comes back and has 40 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, including a record that I don't know if will ever be broken. 17 points in overtime. He had a 17-point overtime period In his first game back against Dame and CJ in Portland, that was the famous I'm back game. It was kind of a little weird because then after that, Warriors fans were like, oh, Steph's hurt when he didn't play great in the finals, but he had 17 in overtime. Then, this is key. One of the reasons he's ahead of Durant in these rankings. They're down 3-1 to OKC. Games 5, 6, and 7, he averages 33, 7, and 8, including in Game 7, another huge Game 7, 36 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists. Then, the first 4 against Cleveland, he plays well. He plays unbelievably in Game 4, 38 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists to go up 3-1 on the Cavs. But then we know what happened. LeBron and Kyrie had dual masterpieces in Game 5. LeBron had a singular masterpiece in Game 6. And then Steph had the worst playoff game of his life in Game 7. He had listen, that's got to be part of the story. He was, I think, 6 for 19. I can pull it up real quick. I think it was 6 for 19. We all remember the behind the back pass out of bounds. Earlier in the series, his wife accuses the league of being rigged for ratings or money. He throws his mouthpiece at a fan. The whole thing's ugly. So that was tough for him. But then, to his credit, he recognizes the Warriors can't beat LeBron as presently constituted. Not a healthy Cavs team. He gets Kevin Durant to come join him. And then they have, you could argue, I said it earlier, the 2 greatest teams ever, the 83 Sixers and the 2017 Warriors. Why? They were both championship caliber teams that had been to multiple finals and then added an in their prime league MVP. The Sixers added Moses. The Warriors added Durant. If people are like, oh, how good were the 96 Bulls? Well, what if the 97 Bulls added Akeem Olajuwon? Then they'd be the greatest team ever. That's essentially what the Warriors did. They only did that because Steph allowed them to do it. 2017, they're just sweeping their way through the playoffs, it looks like. And to close out Portland, Steph has 37, 7, and 8. Averages 30, 5, and 7 for the series. Game 1 of the Western Conference Finals has another 40-piece. Averages 32, 6, and 5 for the series as they swept the entire West. Averages 27, 8, and 9 in the finals. So that's important. Those were probably Steph's best finals. He averaged 27, 8, and 9. The problem is Durant averaged like 35. So it was clear Durant was finals MVP. For the playoff run, he averaged 28, 6, and 7. 2018 Western Conference Finals. This is key. These are, again, clutch moments facing adversity. They're down 3-2 to Houston. He has 29, 5, and 6. And then in Game 7, 27 points, 9 rebounds, 10 assists, 4 steals to get to his 4th straight finals. Could have been the finals MVP at 37 in the final game of those finals and averaged 28, 6, and 7 for the finals. But KD got it mostly because he hit that big shot over LeBron for the 2nd straight year. 2019, he has a 38, 15, and 7. 15 rebounds. Steph, underrated rebounder for his size. 38, 15, and 7 to start the playoffs, and then an iconic game against Houston. Durant's already gone down. If you just look at the box score, you say, oh, Game 6 against Houston, Steph had 33 points. He had 0 in the first half, and he had 33 in the second half to beat James Harden, send them home, beat them in Houston. Swept Portland without Durant in the conference finals, averaging 37, 8, and 7. Game 3 of the 2019 finals, tied 1 game apiece. Durant's not back yet. Steph had 47, 8, and 7, but the Warriors lost by double digits in that game. Averaged 31, 5, and 6. Not on great efficiency, but still 31, 5, and 6 for the finals. They obviously, lose in 6. Durant comes back. What also hurt Steph there is they had 2 wins there. One of the 2 was when Durant came back, had 11 points in a quarter, and then popped his Achilles. But at that point, he has 5 finals. He has 3 rings. Then he misses the playoffs back-to-back years. And now this year he's back in the finals. So that's why he is where he is. Without question, one of the 12 greatest players of the last 50 years, one Stephen Curry. Let's get to a Steph Curry caller or callers if we can, please.
What's up, Nick? How you doing? Melissa Rowland here, national NBA reporter for Fox Sports. I have a question for you. Steph Curry obviously completely changed the game. He revolutionized the sport. He made it possible for players to shoot from anywhere on the court. He made it so that NBA teams had to change their rosters. He made it so that players had to change their games. Did you consider putting him higher on your list just for the mere fact that Steph Curry changed NBA basketball as we know it?
Hey Nick, it's Pablo, host of ESPN Daily, Debatable, from Around the Horn, PTI, all that stuff. I'm just here to automatically reject wherever you rank Steph Curry. And I truly mean automatically, because asking you to rank Steph is kind of like asking Kanye to assess where Pete Davidson ranks on a list of all-time funniest comedians. And I don't mean to compare Pete Davidson and Steph at all. One guy affected the way millions upon millions of people approach and conceive of the game of basketball. He's the greatest shooter of all time, blah, 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 blah. Although Pete Davidson also pretty good shoot-your-shotter, as it were. But simply because he's taken away so much of what you love, right? Like whether it's your credibility via the Andrew Wiggins stuff or all the titles that you wanted for LeBron, it's just impossible for you to assess him. And so for that reason, I am out.
Okay, well, I appreciate Pablo, I think, not even looking at where I have Steph ranked before saying that he would have him ranked higher. I would just challenge anyone to, again, I don't want to reveal the rest of the list, but you guys know that 9 names, 10 names that haven't been discussed yet. You know, we haven't, you got him ahead of Shaq? Do you have him ahead of Larry Bird? Do you have him ahead of Kobe Bryant, Akeem Olajuwon, the guys who are going to be coming up in future episodes? Like, do you? I don't think you do. And as far as, do I give Steph extra legacy credit for how he changed the game? I do not. If we're ranking the greatest baseball players ever, how do you fit? Do you have Jackie Robinson number 1? Maybe the most important athlete ever, but it's not better than Babe Ruth. Those are separate discussions. In a similar way, yes, Steph Curry changed the game, but that to me, if I'm talking about how impactful you were, how great you were, I can't give you legacy points on that. I think I have him ranked quite fairly. I reject nearly everything Pablo said, except for the long list of jobs he currently has that he does, you know, at a halfway decent level. We'll be right back. All right, and now I'm back to the day after Steph Curry won his 4th title to talk about these finals, because we weren't able to talk about it during the bulk of that Steph Curry segment because we recorded it right when the finals started. So Steph going into these finals was right neck and neck with Dr. J for 11 or 10. And what pushed him over the top was the 2 kind of odd omissions from his resume. He got them both accomplished. One, obviously, a clear, concise, conclusive, no doubt about it, finals MVP. I know some people argue, and I'm one of them, he deserved it over Iguodala in 15. But some of us who argue that think that was really a fight for second place because LeBron should have won it. There hadn't yet been a finals in his career where he was unquestionably the best guy on either team. This finals, there is no doubt about it. Additionally, he also hadn't yet had the transcendent, all-time memorable finals game. He had some very good finals games, but the most points he ever had scored in a finals game came in a loss, as we discussed. The 37 against Cleveland in Game 5 in 2015 is a great game, but I don't know how many people really remember it. People are going to remember Game 4. Down 2-1 against Boston, who had seemingly taken control of the series. He has 43 points, 10 rebounds, an out-of-this-world shooting experience to quiet TD Garden to get the Warriors back in control of the series. And then while he wasn't great in Game 5, Game 6, he was sensational again, 34, 7, and 7, rebounding from the first playoff game of his life where he didn't hit a 3 by making 5 of his first 6 threes, hitting 6th overall, winning a unanimous finals MVP. So 4 rings and the architect and the heartbeat of the best dynasty since Jordan's Bulls. This ring cements the Warriors, in my opinion. 6 trips to the finals in 8 years, 4 rings in 8 years, better than the Spurs dynasty. The Spurs won 5 rings, went to 6 finals, but they did it from 99 to 14, so over 15 years. Better than the Lakers with Shaq and Kobe, who went to 4 finals, won 3 rings in a 5-year stretch. This is better than that. So he's the architect of the best dynasty of his era. He has 4 rings. He has 2 league MVPs, as we discussed. He's the greatest shooter ever. He's one of the greatest teammates ever. And now, finally, His resume has no blank marks. He's checked off every box you would want to check as a player. It's why he is in the top 10 of the 50 best players of the last 50 years. Hey, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button to get more from the show, and make sure to click the bell to get notified every time new content drops. Check out full episodes of What's Right wherever you get your podcasts, or just click the link in the description below.